House of Ramirez does not do sports, politics, or religion. However, understanding that the city elections are this year and how impactful and important it is for all of us Atlantans, I have decided to open my platform to politics, to give a fair shot to each running candidate to tell their story. This conversation needed to happen, and we are having the conversation for the love of community.
Hey guys, you already know what's up. This House of Ramirez. We out here in Atlanta and we're representing very well. With me today, I have a young man, Todd. I'm gonna go ahead and let him introduce himself so he can tell the audience who he is and where he comes from. Many of you guys know I don't do politics, I don't do religion, and I don't do sports. But I felt that it was necessary to open up my platform to let individuals tell their story. And here we are. Yo, Todd, thank you so much for being on my show. Can you tell us who you are and where you are from?
Good morning, and good morning to everyone out there watching and listening. I'm Todd Gray, and I'm glad to be on House of Ramirez. I'm an Atlanta native, born and raised in Atlanta, from the Collier Heights community. Before I was old enough to vote, I found my passion for service in this community. I'm a son of the city. If we go back to the 1950s, my great aunt and great uncle owned a restaurant called Lee's Inn that used to be called Ashby Street. And on the Ashby Street, they had one of the few restaurants where individuals and civil rights leaders in this community could gather, of the likes of Martin Luther King and others who would go there to safely organize and participate and build the foundation of what we're still fighting for today. My parents, my mother's an Atlanta native, graduated from Washington High School in the 1950s. Worked at Grady. She was a Grady baby, so was two of my other brothers. I was almost a Grady baby. Got caught in a little traffic there. And then my father, he's from Butler, Georgia. So he moved to Atlanta in the 1950s to get away from segregation and to find an opportunity. Of my family, the first one to go to college, but from a family of great leaders and aspiration and a family of faith that have promoted everything that I stand for today. So I'm Todd Gray. I spent my entire career fighting for our community and look forward to talking today about why we decided to do it for the city of Atlanta.
Most def. And that's very encouraging. Shout out Collier Heights. Shout
That's
out
right.
Everybody down in the Cascade area. So, representing big for Atlanta, and that's something to pay attention to. We need somebody that's from here, knows here, been here, and knows how to have ideas to implement to get us better. I was just talking about that this morning. It has to improve. We're great. We're great as a city. We have great people here, but we need more ideas that are progressive to make us better. We're great. Let's make it better. Now let's dive into a little bit of political questions, just slight tab here and there. I want to pick your brain a little. So what do you consider the top 3 issues in Atlanta? Now, if you don't mind, please clarify, you're not running for a district, you're running for post 1. So can you please tell us?
Absolutely, and thank you for that, pointing that out. For all those viewing today, anyone in the city of Atlanta can vote for your at-large post on November 2nd and early on October 12th. And the top 3 issues I see facing Atlanta, the easy one, but the unfortunate one that we all are dealing with right now is crime. It's something we have to deal with, but I'm going to dig deeper into an additional 3, but let's start with crime. Crime is a twofold issue in the city. It is something that we're seeing as a issue of disproportionate inequity in communities and underserved communities that may be under-resourced. So crime is a consequence of a socioeconomic condition. And we're seeing that double down coming out of this pandemic in Black and brown communities. And that has been a factor. Also, there's been a lot of crime happening in the city as a lot of people have focused on Atlanta and come to Atlanta from outside areas as we remained open when a lot of other cities were still moving around. We had looser restrictions. And that brought a wave of crime here that has riddled our city and is still here. And then also crime can be a cops and robbers issue, but some of the things that end up in the hands or dealings with the police that we deal with aren't crime issues. Some of them are mental health issues that we need to deal with empathy. Some of them is a homelessness issue where they've asked for their meal the second and third time, and we need to provide a solution and empathy to resolve that. I've worked for Atlanta Police Department And in that, I went through the training, and I understand firsthand the training that was given, but the need for community-based policing. And that's a model that I believe in, to where we reimagine policing to serve the community. When the police come into the neighborhood, the kids shouldn't run first, they should run towards their favorite officer and engage and build that relationship and that rapport. After crime is affordability. I've worked my entire career in the area of supplier diversity. So for almost 20 years in supplier diversity here in Atlanta, I've made the impact of our communities of diversity to make sure we have equity in lending through the Community Reinvestment Act. I've built supplier diversity programs for CVS Pharmacy to make sure we have access to pharmacies that sell products and goods from diverse businesses in the communities in which those pharmacies sit. I did that as the national head of supply diversity for CVS. I came back to Atlanta. I was in Rhode Island when I was leading that program, thawed out back home in Atlanta, and came to Grady, the best chapter, where I was able to build Grady's diversity program from the ground up. We grew their diversity spend from 3 to 33%. But what does that mean? That means we changed who paid with their time versus their resources in the indigent care population. Those who do not have access to health insurance are not able to be mobile and proactive about their health care in some cases in that indigent patient population. But we created jobs when we used more minority-owned, veteran-owned, Hispanic-owned, and Asian-owned businesses, and we were intentional. I built those programs that are still growing jobs today in the Atlanta area. And when we built the Marcus Trauma Center, we created 1,500 jobs, and we reskilled that workforce to go over and build Mercedes-Benz Stadium and help women get into construction and work in different areas and breaking down barriers. So I'm a fighter for diversity and equity. That also goes to the other part of affordability. The second piece is housing. When we create equitable jobs, when we fight inequity, that's what I've been doing my whole career. I lead it now for Kaiser Permanente. So with that, it's been my passion's work just not to state the issue, but to get in the gravel and get in the ground and build a solution. After affordability is last, I would say it's an ethical issue in our city. We must have a government that's transparent, that serves every citizen, and it's not politically motivated, but the Super Bowl is when our community wins. So often we court companies and developments into the city. We have ambitious goals, we state those goals, but after the excitement goes, the walls are built, you can't take them back down, and it didn't include what we intended it to include or hire who we intended to be hired, and I'm tough on that. I served on the City of Atlanta's Ethics Board for the last 6 years, up to vice chair of the Ethics Board, eradicating some of the issues we had within our city government and unethical use of our tax dollars and leadership and operations. So what I do is to make sure that I don't only talk about a solution, but about the things that we can do to resolve it. And my community from the ground up has been fighting for the youth, fighting for entrepreneurs, and fighting for our community at large to really have an area we can work, live, and play. So top 3, crime, affordability, and ethics, so we can get done what we say we're gonna get done.
So crime is something that is everywhere. It's not just in Atlanta, and all of our officers, all of the team players, even community members that are on different crime patrol committees, just everyone is pitching in so we could go ahead and help our city. We can't fully eradicate it. That would be illogical thinking, but we're doing our best. And I applaud everybody that's doing their best right now. And we need somebody that knows shit from the inside. So I'm excited to hear that you care about that. Affordability is something that, as a mother of 3 from the Hispanic community, that shit is important. Somebody that understands that it needs to be affordable in order for us to have. Of course, it's a capital, a capitalistic city. So if you grind hard enough, you could get it, right? But everything has to be measured so everyone can eat at the table. So I agree with you there. And also ethics, it goes a long way all across the board. So we need to be able to give opportunities to everybody in the city. So I'm excited about that. Thank you. I want to ask you, what makes you want this job? Now, some people have politics in their bloodline, like they doing it and they pass the baton and they picking it up. Other people are just, like you mentioned, you felt motivated by this at a young age, but what was that motivation piece? Can you tell us that?
Yeah, and thank you for that question, and you hit it right on. There are many different reasons people decide to run for office. But the reason I decided to run, I don't come from a family of politicians. I come from a family of hard workers. As I mentioned, I was the first in my family to be able to go to college and to have that experience, and to see my nephew and nieces flourish in their collegiate careers, off of inspiration or working trades or wherever they decide to do. Each generation inspires the next. So one, I've always just had a sense of accountability and a passion for service. That's been my career choice. I did diversity and equity and inclusion work, excuse for the lack of better words, before it was the buzzword or sexy. I was doing this work standing up for the least of us in our community, and not the least from any scale, but those who have been disenfranchised. I'm doing this because underserved should not be a word in Atlanta. Underserved doesn't mean this certain area was just created and it's less than, and we don't support it from an environmental standpoint. We don't support it from a resource standpoint. We're under one provision in so many different areas, from education and to community benefit, but the least go to this underserved area. It's underserved because someone did not serve it. It's underserved because things were missing in that community. And it's not just saying this is what it is and we must, continue to aid it and pad it. No, we do the work to bring equity. We have data. We can bring equity if we hold individuals accountable, hold our elected officials accountable, be more accountable in our public-private partnerships, and really reach across the aisle, even with those who don't agree with us. When we're looking the same direction, we can find a solution, even if we disagree. And that's the type of leadership I've led with. So I decided to step down from the Board of Ethics, not for any reason of my own, not because I felt I have a birthright to this, and not on a whole bunch of saying what I will do once we get there. I want to hear the people's voice, the experience I've been blessed to live and lead. And I stepped off the ethics board because it's time to get it done for the city I was born in, that I love, that I'm a homeowner in, that I also want to feel safe in. And I want to walk around the city just as everyone else, as our women, as our kids, and as our families of all sex, and feel safe, feel included. And Atlanta is the best platform for us to get it right. And we can't get in our own way by birthright to a seat, or by I agree or I don't agree, or I like or I don't like. We have to learn to focus on the issues and get it done. And that's what I'm here for. And that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be something that people pay attention to. It's not a birthright. It's not a seat that you're just filling because it was handed to you. It's something that you worked hard for. It's something you're passionate about. And that's who the people need to pay attention to. Regardless of who gets that seat, it has to be somebody working for the people of Atlanta. And that's something I be telling everybody all the time. I heard somebody say, oh, it's their birthright. Get the fuck out of here. We don't do that shit over here. We work hard in the city of Atlanta, okay? So I fully respect that. I fully respect that. And I get what you're saying. I want to ask you, what do you bring to the job that is unique to you? Now, a lot of people say, I include everybody. I love everybody. Okay, that's cool. But what is unique about Todd that you bring to the table that can help the city of Atlanta?
I love that. And what's unique about what I've been blessed to be able to have the experience in doing over my career and before my career started is experience. This is not a campaign to what we're saying, what we will do after November 2nd. This is a campaign that's saying this is what we've been doing and it's time to do it for the city of Atlanta. I have served on the board of the Atlanta Business League, fighting in the trenches, even assuring that the city maintained its supplier diversity program that created the first diverse-owned businesses in this city that create the entrepreneurial spirit in Atlanta that we have today. I was in the first cohort for Chile, cultivating Hispanic Leadership Institute with the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and worked hand in hand with Santiago and Veronica when we were going out, making sure we had equity in Hispanic business communities. I've served on the board currently for the Village at Carver YMCA. I see the students who come in there and don't have funding for the after school swim program. And when we have to go out and win our Why It Matters campaign, in which I led, to raise the money to make sure we can have after school programming to keep them off the street. I serve now on the board of the South Fork Conservancy, where we maintain trails and creeks under our busy highways as alternative means of transportation. So what differentiates me in this race is the fact It's not just a lot of high level talking or saying the right words or saying I've already done this for 25 years. What I am bringing to the table is real world experience, real world solutions, untied to any political motivations. I stepped down from the Board of Ethics to run for this seat because I love this city and we can get it done together. And I'm gonna be a collaborator. I'm gonna work with my peers across council in every district to bring a voice. I have led national programs and international programs as I lead diversity today at Kaiser Permanente. I understand the unique needs to the island of Hawaii, the unique needs to California, the unique needs in Colorado, and the unique needs here in Georgia. And I understand one solution doesn't fit all areas. You have to understand the data, you have to understand inequity, and you have to bring true service and accountability. I've done it throughout my career. It's time to do it for Atlanta. That's why we're out front and getting this word out in this campaign. And that's why we have the trust and the belief of the city to get this work done. And we're not going to stop. We're going to do this for Atlanta. It's not about me. It's about all of us. And that's what I've proven my whole career. Employed and unemployed. This work has been the top of my priority, and we're going to keep doing it.
Love that. I love that. So you have a track record, and I always tell people all the time, you need to look at my rap sheet before you talk to me, because and someone did ask me, why should we choose you over? I was like, I appreciate the question, I respect it, but I think my actions speak louder than my words. And I think that you can feel me on this right now. Your actions speak louder than your words. You're just telling us what you've been doing and what you're going to continue to do and you want to do for the city of Atlanta. So big ups to you, because we definitely need somebody that's been doing it. Sometimes people pop out the woodworks, and it's okay. You know, we're not bashing here because this is a positive platform, but sometimes people pop out the woodworks and it's like, who the fuck is that? Where you been this whole time? When I had an issue about the sidewalk, when I had an issue about the speed bumps, when I had an issue about this and that, where the fuck were you at? So we need somebody that's been in our community, knows the community, and wants to elevate our community. So big ups on that. I want to ask you, why should we vote for you over other candidates that are running for the seat? Now, whatever your explanation is, I want to hear it, because you know there's people running. So now I want to know from your mouth, why should we vote for you over others?
All right. Number one is experience, and experience comes in many forms. Our experience can come through doing the works. Our experience can come through family. Our experience can come through inspiration. So experience is nothing that we want to measure or say anybody's greater or lesser than, but what I am saying about my experience, it has been real and tried and tested to Atlanta. We have done the work. I have stood up in the tough rooms and represented the least of the communities. I have been at the front end of assuring that we have financial services that are equitable in all communities. I've done that with my time in the financial services industry right here in this city, making sure we stood up by the Community Reinvestment Act and got diverse businesses involved. That has been the foundation of the growth of businesses and job opportunities for minorities and underserved communities in this city. I have fought for that in financial services. I have fought for that in healthcare, when eradicating healthcare disparities. We talked about my time at Grady. That supply diversity program within procurement hired diverse businesses who hired diverse individuals who created that first and second and that right time job opportunity that could have bridged them from homelessness. We have done that work and we have inspired that work and have been recognized for that work on a grand scale. I lead that today from an environmental standpoint, not just from the work that I get paid to do by my employer, where I decided to do the work because it's my passion in supplier diversity, but I spend just as much of my time volunteering with the civic boards that I serve on to where we can move the greater good. It's not enough just to say, I want to run for city council because I want the position. It's not enough to say I want to run for city council because I think I can get it done. It is about having the experience, having the aptitude, and having the voice of the community at your forefront so that we can move forth and truly serve. It's not about me, it's not about my name. I'm going to go there and represent every citizen in this city every single day. And that is why I'm doing it. And the reason the community should really stand behind our campaign and support us is because I have fought for diversity, it's proven, and I will not stop. and it's time to do it for Atlanta. It's time for equitable development. It's time for smart development. We have to stop celebrating development pep rallies and don't have the Super Bowl until we validate every dollar that our community won. And we're not gentrifying in a bad way to where the least of our community cannot longer stay and call Atlanta home. That is intolerable in our city. I don't want the word underserved to exist any longer if we get together as leaders and serve and provide true equity to this community. There should not be a last mile issue or sidewalk inequities in certain communities, but access in others. We need a full travel and communication and a transportation system that really supports every single community. We have to do that to grow Atlanta. We have to do that to keep Atlanta safe. We have to do that to make sure our kids got a safe route to school. We have to do that for all of our communities. And I understand, and I've worked with these partners, but now it's time to do it at the level of city council to where we can write legislation that includes all of our city and moves us forward. I don't want any part of Atlanta to leave. We are stronger together. All voices need to be heard. There's not one solution for all areas, but I bring the experience to understand inequity, to understand opportunity, and I have developed partnerships that can help us lead Atlanta forward. That's why I'm running citywide, because I want to be a partner. We can influence through good, solid, trustworthy leadership, and I'm the one to get it done day one. We've been doing it, and now it's time to do it for the city of Atlanta. So I'm not coming in saying I have all the answers. I'm coming in saying I have the experience, and I'm here to hear every voice. I've proven that I represent every voice in the community and the work that I've done and I've led today, and it's time to do it together at City Council.
So you're coming with solutions. Is that what I'm hearing? You're coming with solutions to our problems, and not just one area of the city, but the whole city. And obviously you have a rap sheet in the group and the community behind you. So you have a team. It's not like you just popped out of nowhere and you want to do something different here in Atlanta. You've been doing it. So the fact that you're taking into consideration the whole city and every area. Now, something you did say was about gentrification, good gentrification, because there are different phases and different types of gentrification. Not all of them are the same. Not everything is residential, and not all of them are classified to one race. We all play in gentrification. We got to learn about it to use it to our advantage so we could help our hoods. So yeah, you definitely know what you're talking about. It's nice to hear that, because a lot of times, a lot of people, even in the community, not just candidates, sometimes we just don't know that one thing. And it's okay, because there's always somebody that we can learn from or something we can learn from. And having room to grow is important. But you know what you're talking about. You got the community having your back, and that's important. I applaud you for all the hard work you've been doing. You represent Atlanta hard, and I love that. You know, A-Town is our baby. So we got to love it. We got to nurture it, and we got to grow it. So I want to ask you, I do big in House of Ramirez. I would do a House of Ramirez shout out. So if you have a shout out for someone or something of a short list, right now we got the spotlight on you. But if you want to go ahead and take my platform and spotlight somebody or a group of people that have been holding you down in your life or in your career, go ahead and do that now, and then hit us with your social media and website details so we could support you and we could follow you.
All right, I love it. I love it. Hey, a shout out to everyone out there listening today and following House of Ramirez. This is a place to where we can have real conversation with the people of Atlanta. I want to give a shout out to the entire team for Todd Gray, for City Council. We have been working hard. We have been working tirelessly. It's because of your belief and your hard works. That's why we're here today. I want to give a shout out to all of our supporters that have really stood behind this campaign, have helped us stay out front in the fundraising race so that we can get the message and the work that you believe in done for the city. And I want to give a shout out to our voters and all of those who are going to get engaged in this process. We have over 550,000 citizens. We must get more individuals engaged in the voting process. I want to earn everybody's trust and respect. So if you've been involved in the voting process, but you lost faith in it, not voting is a vote. We want to earn your vote and your voice. If you're an avid voter in this city and you're concerned about where Atlanta's going, we want to earn your support. So no one is not included. No one is left out. Special shout out to my Collier Heights community over there. That's where I learned service. Back in the days when Bankhead Courts and Boeing Homes existed, we would drive church vans in there, and I stood up a program in that community called Polish, putting opportunity, life, inspiration, help, education, and dedication to work for the Lord with inspiration. And we stood up and brought kids to community programs that allowed them to get outside of the walls of that community. So I stand with you. So a big shout out to the Collier Heights community that taught me service from day one. Together, Atlanta, we're going to go to our best days. I can be reached at toddagray.com, where you can find more information about volunteer opportunities. You can reach us on Facebook at Todd A. Gray for City Council, and also on IG at TG4 Atlanta. It's time to go. It's time to stand. This is real work, Atlanta. We do it together. I'll stand there and fight for you every day and represent you, but you must be the fuel behind the representation. Your voice needs to be at the table, and we're going to bring it and make our best days before us.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to thank you for making time to come on my show. Yeah, I know you're very busy. We're all busy right now. We got 60-some days, right? So I'm super excited to have you on my show. It's the first time. It's not the last time. So when you're doing a new project, you got something else going on in the community, hit me up. We'll bring you back and tell people about it. Thank you so much. And until next time, Todd.
Hey, peace and love. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Make sure to follow House of Ramirez on all social media platforms.